Hey guys, this is Gabriel Lorenzi, creator of the blog Grupo Dicas, one of the biggest travel blogs in the world, and today I'm here to tell you all the tips of Tulum. We ended up summarizing here in a single video the best tips and everything you need to know for your trip. So it's going to be very quick tips, useful and without getting bogged down. Like the video guys, this is very important for us, so if you really enjoyed, give us a like, subscribe to the channel because that really helps us a lot. It helps the channel grow, and that's it guys, buckle up. Well, we have several specific videos. We have the one about what to do in Tulum, which talks about all the tours one by one. The one about where to stay, which explains exactly which is the best area. The one about how much it costs, which tells you the price of each item in the trip. But that day, we decided to put all the tips together and turn it into a compilation. A very complete guide for you to know everything you need to prepare your trip to Tulum. So we'll tell everything. How many days to stay, what's the weather like, when's the high season, where to stay, how's the city divided, how do you get to Tulum, what are the best tours. In short, everything you need to know to make a complete trip to Tulum. So let's go. Well, Tulum is a new destination, let's say that, because until a few years ago it was not as famous as it is now. It's a place that became very famous because there are many celebrities, singers, bloggers and players traveling there, and it's a beautiful place. It's a sensational place that really charms everybody, and people started to go there more and more. For those who don't know, Tulum is in Mexico. It's in the Yucatan Peninsula, which is the same place as Cancun. Cancun is a little bit higher up and Tulum is a little bit lower down, and it's about an hour or so away from each other, but they are very different places. Cancun is a much more lively place with many entertainment options, shopping malls, those gigantic resorts, hotels with many pools. Tulum is completely the opposite. It's for those who like something a little more natural, a little more zen vibe, more ecological, more tranquil, so it ends up complementing each other. It's nice that they are practically in the same place on the same peninsula. They are very close to each other, totally different destinations. So if you're more quiet, you like nature, Tulum is worth it. If you want more excitement, Cancun is more worth it. And if you like both, you do it. You stay 5 days in Cancun, you stay 5 days in Tulum, you split your trip because you're already there. You can take the car and in 1 hour you get to Tulum. It's very nice that these two destinations, they are so close to each other, but at the same time they are very different. So you select what sets more your style, you select where you want to go, and if you want to go to both, that's okay too. So the first thing you need to know when you plan to go to Tulum, you have to go to Cancun. The airport is in Cancun, it's the closest airport. Then you're going to buy your airline ticket to Cancun. This is very easy because Cancun is one of the most visited tourist destinations in the world, so there are a lot of flights leaving from all cities from all countries. So it's not so difficult to find a good air ticket to Cancun. When you arrive at Cancun airport, you need to go to the Tulum area, which is about an hour and a bit, at most an hour and a half away. There are a couple of options. The road is very good. It's just one road. It's a straight line practically. There are some options. You can either take a cab there, which will be very expensive. We don't recommend it. You can take a transfer, which is when the person arranges a transfer, a van, a car of some company beforehand, which is already better than the cab. But there's an option that we highly recommend, which is the car. There are people that sometimes don't like to rent a car when they're traveling because they think it's expensive, but for Tulum it's very worth it. In the whole of Mexico it's all very cheap, and for Cancun it is too. So just this transfer that you pay, or this cab to go to Tulum, this hour and a half, and then come back to the airport, the amount that you will pay, you already pay almost the whole rental of the car for all those days. Thing that's very cheap in Mexico is car rental. So the tip is, which is very easy, very simple, is when you arrive at the airport, you pick up the car at the rental company, which is already close to the airport, so you don't even have to leave the airport to pick up your car. It's very easy. If you make the reservation in advance, you don't leave it to be done on the spot. For God's sake, it's much more expensive and sometimes you might not have the car, but it's very simple. I'll even leave here the link in the description of the video to help here, a site that's very good. It's a price comparator. You enter the date of your trip, Cancun airport, it will search for car rental options in all the best car rental companies that are at the airport and finds it unbeatable Prices, very cheap indeed. These cheap prices that I'm talking about are from there that we just researched to see updated, and it's really cheap, and you can book and pick your car there when you arrive to go to the hotel. You can then go to the ruins of Tulum and Chichen Itza, which is 2 hours away, which is one of the tours that we will comment on. You can go to Cancun. You can do several nice things with the car during the trip, and even if you leave it there in the hotel, sometimes it's more worth it for the comfort, for the economy of not having to take a transfer, a cab, and then to go to your hotel. Quick tip about the car: rent with the big car rental companies. Alamo, Avis, Dollar, Budget, Six, and Thrifty are the big name companies, Enterprise too. There are smaller ones there, but we've heard a lot of complaints and a lot of headaches, so even if it's a little bit more expensive, get these big companies. And when you get there, if the person tries to push extra insurance, don't accept. It's common for them to try to push it on you, but you already have the basic insurance included when you book your car online, so refuse, guys. Say no, but this is the whole process for you to rent your car. And now let's talk a little bit about how the Tulum region works. Tulum has 2 main regions. There's the hotel zone, which is the beach area where the main hotels are. It's the most beautiful part, the most famous, and we recommend that you stay there. And then there's the part of the town called Tulum Pueblo, which is the most central part. It's 5 kilometers away from each other. It's not much, but it's a quick drive. On foot, you're a little bit far away, but they are very different regions. The central region is much cheaper. You can get very cheap lodging, but you are far away from the whole essence of Tulum, which is the beach, the nature, that street that you walk down that has excellent restaurants, beach, clubs. The really cool part of Tulum, which is the most expensive obviously, is right on the beach. We made a very nice personalized map, and if you want, I'll leave the link here below as well. It has this map that you are seeing here, that you're going to see here, and that we put together. We customized this area with the best location. If you stay inside it, you will be in the best location possible in Tulum. And we have already made some filters inside the hotel search engine, which is the biggest one in the world. I am sure you're gonna know it. We have already made some filters of very good hotels just to show hotels with good reviews from guests, so you don't get a bad lodging at all. Impossible for you to get a good lodge. So click on the map, close it, enter the date of your trip, open the map again, and you will see all the hotels available on the date of your trip with prices and reviews. It's very easy. Try to get there because it's the best region. This is a very important tip. If you try to stay in this region of the beach, you will have a sensational lodging and your trip will be much better. For those who want to save as much as possible. So Gabriel, I'm very short of money. I want to focus on the tours and the sightseeing, everything. It's better to stay in the central region. The hotels there are much cheaper, something like 20 or 30% of those on the beach. So take a look. If you want to focus only on sightseeing, it's worth it. Stay at the center as well. Now let's talk about the season, when to go to Tulum. There are some observations about this. December and January are the busiest months, and everybody goes there because there are fairs. You have the New Year's, the festivities, and people go a lot. It's a month that gets very crowded and much more expensive, but it's also a very good month in terms of weather. One point of attention is that from June to October, actually more from August to October, is the hurricane season. It doesn't mean that there will be a hurricane, it's just that there's a higher probability of a hurricane. It rarely happens. Some years it does, some years it doesn't, and when it does, it doesn't get over the top, it gets close. So there are more storms that happen, but it's always good to avoid them. If you can program yourself, try to avoid the months of August to October, which is the time when there's the greatest incidence of hurricanes. The rest of the year, in terms of weather and heat, is summer all year round, so don't worry, you won't catch a cold in Tulum. You will always be able to enjoy the beaches, but a very cool time for you to take it, which is, in our opinion, the best months, is from February until June, July. Why? Because they are the months that are the emptiest and also have very good weather because there is no rain. There are months with little incidence of rain. All these months in June and July it starts to rain a little, but February, March, April and May have practically no rain. The weather is very good and the city is not so crowded. And another tip is about the money. Take money because Tulum doesn't have that much place for you to take money, for you to get the money out. You might have a little bit of difficulty to find it, so you already make the withdrawal even if it's at the Cancun airport or somewhere else. Our tip for those who ask what's the currency I use there, it's Mexican pesos because it's in Mexico. They accept Mexican pesos and dollars. Almost any place will accept both. A few places might accept only pesos and not the dollar, but practically 95% of the places accept both currencies, which is better. Financially speaking, if you take the dollar and there exchange it and buy pesos, in theory, it's cheaper. You can save a little bit. But when we do the math and put in the tip of the pencil, the savings end up being very small, but very small indeed. It's a little more work because when the time comes, you have to find a house, you have to buy money, you have to worry about this. What we have solved and what we have done in our last trips is to travel with the money with you. We buy in advance some pesos and some dollars. We buy 60 or 70% in pesos and the rest in dollars, and we travel with both, guaranteed, because it's a safe place. There are no scams, there are no counterfeit bills. We already buy in big exchange houses. I'll leave the link here of the one we buy online. You do everything online. It's the biggest in Brazil. They deliver the money, the prepaid cards, whatever you want, they deliver to your house. We always travel with a part in dollars, a part in pesos, and we pay them on the spot, so we don't have to worry on the spot and end up losing time, stress, suffering a scam, because unfortunately there are scams with tourists, fake bills, several things. So we think that's worth it to have this economy that's little in the end of the money and end up going with everything right just to enjoy your trip when you get there. Almost all places accept credit cards. Some rare places, stands, kiosks, some places you go or small shops may not accept them, but sometimes it's their Wi-Fi signal that can be a little bit bad, so the card machine sometimes doesn't work. But in most places there is a card, you will be able to pay with a card, but always carry cash in your pocket to avoid any headaches about money. And speaking of signal, you will need a cell phone. Of course, nowadays nobody can travel without using the internet on their cell phone, both to make calls and to research everything about the trip. Use Google Maps, WhatsApp, Instagram, social networks, research places, schedules, etc. Nowadays the cell phone is essential. A very good tip we give you is buy a prepaid travel chip. If you travel with your cell phone with your country's account, you will have to activate international roaming, and it's a fortune. Most of the time the bill is absurd, so do not do this. What everybody does when they travel abroad is to buy a chip. These are travel chips that you buy that are from the companies there, and there are several companies that sell them. There is one that's very good. I'll leave here the link below in the description. That's the chip that we have been using for the last 5 or 6 years. We only use them for all trips, and in Mexico it worked well everywhere. Tulum, Cancun, Mexico City, the signal is excellent. The price, we highly recommend it because they are really good. You go to the website, you buy it, and you will have access to your chip. You get there in Mexico and you can use it right off the plane and use your internet. One important thing, the chip is a very good electronic chip that works for some models of cell phones. It's a digital chip that you don't need to receive a plastic one. You will receive by email a QR code. You virtually install the chip in your cell phone. This makes it faster, easier, and cheaper because you don't pay the cost of the actual chip. You just use the e-chip. So have a look, see if your phone already fits into the system categories, and just enjoy. Some people prefer to buy the chip there. You can get it everywhere. You go there and try to find a Walmart or a phone store. You can get the chip a little bit cheaper. We don't recommend it because the times we tried it, the savings were small. It's not much, and you end up saving at most $5 or $10 at max, and you end up wasting your travel time. You have to go to the place, you have to speak in the other language, explain, set up the phone. It ended up being a headache, and we thought it was not worth it. We like to travel with the chip. You arrive, use it, and only worry about enjoying your trip. It's much better. And now talking about the tours, we will summarize it very well here. There's a video that we talk about what to do in Tulum. Check it out because we will explain all the tours one by one. But speaking in general, there are many tours to do in Tulum. There's the town center, of course. There's the main street in the hotel zone. There are many restaurants. Research well because there are many restaurants, beach clubs and restaurants of the hotels themselves that are beautiful on the beach, there are a lot of nice things. You can wander around there. It's a very nice place to get to know during the day and at night. There are lots of nice things to do. And leaving Tulum a little bit, there are the ruins of Tulum, which is the main tourist attraction. So it's one of the 4 main ones in Mexico. Chichen Itza, in my opinion, is the coolest, but it's a little bit further away. There are the Tulum ruins that are right next to Tulum. You can get there in 5 minutes by car. It's very fast, but there are also the ruins of Chichen Itza, which is another archaeological site that is considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. So you should check it because it's what we think it's worth visiting, and it's 2 hours away. It's even closer than Cancun. You can go there easily by car or with an agency. You can take a tour, and it's also very nice because they have a guide. They explain everything. It's very cool. But try to do at least one of these 2 tours. If you can do both, a tip: Chichen Itza is cooler because it's cooler, but it's further away. If you want to spend a little more time, go there. And if you don't like those things and want to go fast, go to Tulum ruins, which is close by and has very nice view of the beach. This is differentiates the 2 very well. It's the only archaeological site that's by the beach, these Tulum ruins, so it's a very beautiful scenery. The ruins are not as beautiful as Chichen Itza, but the sea scenery helps a lot. It ends up being a very nice place. And besides the ruins, you also have the parks, which are very good: the Xcaret and the Xel-Ha. The Xel-Ha is very close to Tulum, so we end up recommending it because it's much closer. There's also Cozumel Island, which is right across the street, which is a beautiful place. It was selected several times as the most beautiful place in the world to dive, so if you like diving, it's sensational. There is Isla Mujeres, which is another nice island, a little bit further up, and it has the cenotes. Tulum is famous for having hundreds of cenotes. Cenotes are some natural water reserves. You can see them in the video to better understand what they're about. You can swim. It's a little bit cold because it's covered. You will see that there's not much sunlight, but it's a very beautiful place. Each one, it's kind of a run by family that lives there, so it's a very local thing. You go in, you pay a very cheap entrance fee, and then you can use it. If you're driving, you can put the address of the 2 most famous ones. See the video of what to do in Tulum that we mentioned there, which ones are the coolest, but it's a very good tour. To sum up, Tulum has a lot of tours for you to do in the area around Tulum, so plan well because there are a lot of things to do. If you have a car, you can easily do most of the tours, but there are many tours that it's better if you book with an agency. We used an agency that was sensational. It's a very good agency. I'll leave here the contact info below in the video. They answer you by WhatsApp. They are very good and give you a complete assistance in your trip. They do all the tours, including the transfer if you want from the airport to your hotel and then back and forth. If you don't want to rent a rental car, they do the transfer if you make the arrangements with them. So they give an incredible advisement and do all these tours, the boat tours, that is Cozumel, Isla Mujeres, and Chichen Itza. Also need a guide. There are some nice spots to stop along the way, so we recommend that you do it because they are very good and also very worth it. On the shopping side, there's not much in Tulum. There are a few stores. There are some you will find them, but compared to Cancun, there it's not much. Our tip is to take the car or a cab and go to Cancun all day. There are several malls that are very good and big malls with all the stores, and do the shopping there that we think it's a little bit nicer and has a lot of options and a lot of variety as well. It's better to enjoy. And an essential tip that's very important: if you're going to leave your country anywhere, make sure you have international travel insurance. For Tulum, it's very cheap. Travel insurance covers you for everything that can happen abroad: medical and dental assistance, lost luggage. A consultation abroad is very expensive. A hospitalization, if you need to be hospitalized, for God's sake, it's really expensive, an absurd deal, usually in dollars or in Mexican pesos, but they end up converting it, so it's a fortune. And travel insurance is very cheap. A good insurance policy for a 7-day trip, you will pay $15, so it's not worth the risk. For Europe, it's mandatory, so you can see how important travel insurance is, so go get some. I'll leave here in the description of the video a price comparator. It's the same as the one for cars, but it's for travel insurance. It's a great site that compares travel insurance with the biggest insurance companies in the world and finds very good prices. It's the cheapest place. We have have ever found, so check it out. It's worth it, and in 5 minutes you can do it. Buy your insurance and travel with the policy there. Just print it and you are done. You're already insured and travel much relaxed. And here below in the description of the video, I'll leave all the links that I commented that are the sites that we use to set up our trips, and for sure it will help you a lot to organize yours in reliable prices and that are the cheapest. You will really save a lot of money. If you want to plan your trip further, also visit the blog dicasdecancun.co.br. It has all these tips, all the links, and much more material for you to follow and know everything about it. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, give us a like to the video, subscribe to the channel, it really helps us a lot, and be sure to watch our other videos. The one about what to do in Tulum is very good, the one about how much it costs, where we talk about the price of everything, is also very good, and here I'll leave the playlist with all the videos for you to watch. Thank you very much, guys, and have nice trips.